Have you ever wondered about Jesus' first words to Mary Magdalene after the resurrection? In the Gospel of John, she reaches for him, and he says, Noli Me Tangere, which is Latin for do not hold on to me. For centuries, this has been interpreted in a fairly straightforward way. Theologians often suggest Jesus was either not yet fully ascended, his resurrected body was somehow different, or he was simply telling Mary not to delay him because he had to ascend to the Father. But what if there's a deeper, more mystical meaning hidden in plain sight? What if this wasn't just a logistical instruction but a profound spiritual teaching? Today, we're diving into the Gnostic interpretation of this pivotal moment. An interpretation that transforms the entire scene from a simple reunion into a powerful lesson about the nature of divinity. Let's set the scene from the Gospel of John. It's early morning, still dark. Mary Magdalene is weeping outside the empty tomb. She's heartbroken, confused. She mistakes the resurrected Jesus for a gardener. It's only when he says her name, Mary, that she recognizes him. In her joy and relief, she calls him Rabboni, which means teacher, and she instinctively reaches out to touch him, to ground this miraculous moment in physical reality. And that's when he says it, do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. This line has puzzled scholars for ages. Why would he deny this moment of connection to his most devoted follower? Why the sudden distance? The traditional view often chalks it up to the uniqueness of his post-resurrection state, a transitional phase between earthly and heavenly existence. But the Gnostics saw something else entirely. For Gnostic thinkers who flourished in the early centuries of Christianity, the physical world was seen as a shadow, a lesser reality compared to the spiritual realm of pure light and knowledge, which they called the pleroma. They believed that the divine spark is trapped within each person, and the goal of life is to awaken this spark through gnosis, or direct, intuitive knowledge of the divine. So when they read this passage, they didn't see Jesus rejecting Mary. They saw a master guiding his most advanced disciple to the next level of understanding. In their view, Jesus' words, "Do not hold on to me," were a profound spiritual directive. He wasn't saying, "Don't touch my physical body." He was saying, "Do not cling to the physical manifestation of who you think I am. The Jesus you knew, the man who walked and ate with you, is a vessel. The true Christ, the divine consciousness, is not something you can grasp with your hands." This is a radical shift in perspective. He was essentially telling Mary, and by extension all of us, to let go of attachment to the external, physical form. He was redirecting her search from the outside to the inside. The Gnostic Gospels, like the Gospel of Philip, emphasize this idea. They often speak of a spiritual union, a bridal chamber symbolism, which represents the merging of the soul with the divine spirit. By telling Mary not to cling to his physical body, Jesus was pushing her towards this higher, internal union. He was saying, the Christ you are seeking is no longer just out here. Look within. Find the divine spark inside yourself. This is a core, Gnostic concept. Salvation comes not from blind faith in an external savior, but from the awakening of the Christ consciousness that resides within every soul. Let's contrast this with the standard interpretation. The Orthodox view emphasizes the physical resurrection of Jesus as the cornerstone of faith. The empty tomb, the tangible proof of his body's revival, is paramount. In this context, his interaction with Mary is about establishing the reality of his physical return, while also signaling his impending ascension to God the Father in heaven. It's a historical, linear event. The Gnostic interpretation, however, is psychological and mystical. It's less about a historical event and more about a timeless spiritual lesson. The resurrection isn't just about one man's body coming back to life. It's a metaphor for the awakening of the divine potential within humanity. So Jesus' command to Mary isn't a temporary restriction. It's a permanent instruction for all spiritual seekers. Don't get stuck on the idol, the image, the physical teacher. Use the teacher as a guide to find the truth within yourself. Think about it this way. Mary represented the soul still attached to the material world. She recognized Jesus, but her first instinct was to relate to him on a physical level, the way she always had. Jesus, as the enlightened teacher, knew that for her spiritual journey to continue, she had to evolve beyond that. She had to learn to recognize him not just in his physical form, but as a spiritual presence, a state of being she could also access. He was, in effect, graduating her from the school of faith based on sight to the University of Gnosis based on inner knowing. Her mission was no longer to follow a physical man, but to become a bearer of the inner light. an apostle to the apostles, as she is sometimes called precisely because she was the first to receive this deeper teaching. This interpretation also reframes Mary Magdalene's role. In many Orthodox traditions, she is often seen as a repentant sinner, a woman whose primary virtue is her emotional devotion. But in the Gnostic texts, like the Gospel of Mary, she is portrayed as the foremost disciple, the one who understood Jesus' esoteric teachings better than the male apostles. They often became jealous of her because Jesus shared with her spiritual secrets he didn't share with them. From this perspective, the Noli Me Tangere scene is her final initiation. It's the moment Jesus confirms that she is ready to move beyond the outer teachings and embrace the inner mystery. He trusts her enough to give her this challenging, paradoxical instruction, knowing she has the spiritual maturity to understand it. So when Jesus says, "I am ascending to my Father, and your Father, to my God and your God," the Gnostics heard a confirmation of their core belief. He wasn't just talking about his unique relationship with a distant heavenly Father. The use of "your Father" and "your God" was a declaration of shared divinity. He was pointing to the universal source from which all divine sparks originate. The Father is not an external deity in the sky, but the ultimate transcendent spiritual reality that is the source of both Jesus' divinity and our own latent divinity. His ascension wasn't just a physical departure into the clouds. It was a demonstration of the soul's return to the spiritual pleroma, a path that is available to everyone who achieves gnosis. So the next time you see a painting or read the story of Noli Me Tangere, perhaps you can see it in a new light. Is it the story of a confused and emotional woman being told to keep her distance? Or is it the story of a master empowering his most beloved student to take the final step toward enlightenment? Is it a command to not touch, or an invitation to let go of the physical and embrace the spiritual? The Gnostic view challenges us to find the Christ not in a historical figure or an empty tomb, but within the quiet chambers of our own hearts. It suggests that the most profound spiritual truths aren't written in stone, but whispered to those who are ready to listen. This interpretation doesn't necessarily invalidate the traditional one, but it certainly adds a rich layer of psychological and spiritual depth to the narrative. It transforms a puzzling moment into a timeless allegory for the spiritual path itself. The journey from seeing with the eyes to knowing with the soul, from clinging to the external to discovering the infinite within. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If you enjoyed exploring this hidden layer of meaning, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges the way we see the world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.